There's something in the darkness, hiding under your bed. Something in the shadows, it's not inside your head. Hiding in the darkness, never to see the light. Afterlife, afterlife, afterlife,
I'm Eric,
I'm Stacy.
And I'm Kyle.
and this is New Hampshire Ghost Stories. We got a special program for you today. We went out this weekend to North Andover, Massachusetts to visit the Parson Bernard House. So we can't talk too much about that because we don't have permission to talk about that. But we can talk about things that are related to it. We did go there. We had a great time. And there was a cemetery maybe about 2 or 3 football fields away from it. It's one of the oldest cemeteries there. It was dated back on the wall, 1660. So there's a few things we're going to talk about. We even get some video, live footage of it. We even get some pictures that we're going to throw on there. We're even going to relate later, as Kyle will mention later on during the show, we're going to talk about Vale End Cemetery in Wilton, New Hampshire. He's going to tell you a little story about that. We're actually going to do a New Hampshire Ghost Story episode about that cemetery as well. So we hope you enjoy this. It should be a lot of fun. There's a lot we have to talk to you about. We did a lot of digging to talk about this old cemetery. There's not really a name for it. So
We didn't dig anything at the cemetery.
no, not literally, but Stacy and I and Kyle sat down today and did some research on this place. A lot of history here, a lot of people that started out in Andover. So is there anything you want to add, Stacy?
Yeah, there's a lot of settlers that first came to Massachusetts that actually was buried in Andover, which is really awesome.
Another thing he told me that was really cool is that George Washington and Thomas Jefferson had walked through those those grounds over there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So I guess back in the early 1600s in Andover, a certain person moved over, and they built this old meeting house next to the cemetery. Well, according to records, that this meeting house no longer exists. So this meeting house was built like 3 times. And some of this, there's only 2 stones that are dated that are found in the 1600s that are still standing.
Yeah,
And-
one of the graves that were from 1660 was of Timothy Swan and John Stevens,
Yeah.
and they were 2 of the founders of Newbury,
Yeah.
Massachusetts.
Yeah, they first settled what, in 1638?
Or 1645.
Somewhere along that
Yeah.
line. That's a lot of history. And settlers didn't start coming to the United States until 1620, and that was Plymouth, Massachusetts. So I mean, that's still a little bit of a walk or a ride on horse and buggy back then, because it would take you at least a full day to get from area to area. So there's a lot. And what else? There was
that Timothy Swan guy, he was reported to die from malice and wickedness of witchcraft.
yeah, so that was reported on this in this particular area. So I mean, you got the Osgoods. A numerous amount of the Osgoods are buried in this cemetery. A lot of Bernards that lived in the Parson Bernard house, which was built in 1715. And as of this year, the place is 300 years old, and it's still standing to this day. It's actually, someone actually lives in this home and shows it as a museum. So,
I just love Massachusetts. It's so old, and Andover is just such an old town too. There's so many beautiful houses that are still standing from that time period.
but we were standing in this cemetery. There's like no name for this cemetery. They call it like the first cemetery. That's what we were told when we were there.
It's the first church
Yeah.
of Andover, Mass.
And some of these homes that were standing next to it are at least 2 300 years old.
And they're huge and
Wicked
so
huge.
beautiful.
Yeah, you're going to see some of the footage that we show you today. There was an old tree. Now, it had to have grown after the cemetery was built.
The roots were growing around some of the gravestones.
Some of them were going like right through the gravestones
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
pushing them out of the ground.
Pushing them out of the ground. So this tree had to have grown after everybody was buried here. So even if you were to try, not saying people are going to do this, to dig up these burial grounds, there's probably roots through these caskets and stuff like that. You probably wouldn't even be able to find anything on these people.
Yeah, we looked up a map of the cemetery, and it has dots of like all the graves, and
Yep.
there's trees over some of the dots.
And this is the map. There's a couple highlighted dots on here, and this is how big this cemetery is, and it's pretty cool. So there's 3 highlighted dots. These are the 3 people that were important, I guess, to this time period.
One of the dots is the oldest gravestone of John Stevens in 1662. The other one is of Timothy Swan, because he's the second oldest gravestone in that church.
And he was the one who had the witchcraft and wicked done to him.
Yeah.
Which-
And then the third highlighted dot is of Reverend Thomas Bernard, who is the owner of the...
So these are some real cool places. We got maybe about 20 minutes of footage, if possible, where we're out, because it started to rain that night. And we're not one for getting our equipment wet, because it'll ruin the equipment.
And the mosquitoes were awful.
Oh
Yes,
my gosh.
mosquitoes were
I got a
awful.
bug bite around my
So
you
this-
might see the camera moving a lot.
You might see the camera shaking a lot. You might see it moving a lot. Us 3 went out and did it ourselves. So from time to time, you're going to see me pointing the camera at me or pointing it at them too, because, like I said, we went out with a different group. We were part of another team called Hunting the Haunted. So when we went out as New Hampshire Ghost Stories, we didn't have the whole team that helps us support and do this show for you guys, New Hampshire Ghost Stories. So so we kind of did it on our own. So it'll be a little choppy because of the mosquitoes. You'll hear us laughing, giggling, having a good time, but at the same time, we'll be showing you some stones that have no writing on them. It's just faded.
Oh, and some of the stones are slate, not found in New Hampshire. Some of those stones, they believe, came from England when they came over
Yeah.
in the boats.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. There was a few out there, probably you'll see on camera. There was one that was re-cemented back in,
Together because it was broken.
and it was huge. And this is what me and Kyle saw when we were looking at these. The stone's almost as big as Stacy.
That's not
So-
that hard.
The tree that they cut down in the middle of the graveyard is bigger than me. This stump is like bigger than 5 feet.
Oh yeah, literally, it's huge. You'll see that in the footage. It's pretty
so cool. They took all the gravestones that had broken and they put them on top of the stump so they wouldn't be lost or anything like that.
Yeah, it's amazing. I like going out and looking at stuff like this. I like knowing my history. Massachusetts is one of the oldest states for this history. You won't find any gravestones dated out that far back from us settling our country and colonies. If you do, then it was before our time being settled here in the United States. So, you know, if you're interested in this stuff, interested in your history, look these things up, because it's amazing what we found just going out to North Andover. And it actually just used to be Andover.
Yeah.
And back, I believe it was late 1700s or early 1800s, where it was end up cut in half from North Andover to regular Andover.
Actually, right towards the back of the cemetery is right where
It-
The
north,
line.
the line is.
Yeah.
You can see it, like right where it starts.
Yeah, so it's actually pretty cool information. The person that, you know, does the tours at the Parson Bernard House and Andover, Massachusetts at this museum knows a lot of history about this place. I mean, it's kind of hard for us to get to talk to him because he's limited to who he likes to talk to. He's limited to who he likes to share the stories with. So maybe someday we can possibly get him to maybe be on the show to talk with us. I think that would be pretty cool. Maybe we'll go to him and film it on that location, whichever works. But when that time comes, I'll work my magic. So until then, we hope you enjoy the show. Kyle's got some information he's going to share with us, and we'll say a few more things after that, and then we'll show you the footage that we got this weekend from North Andover, Massachusetts. So Kyle.
All right. So, well, next week I'm going to be taking you guys to one of my favorite locations where I experienced all the, I mean, how do I say it? The first experience I've ever had seeing a ghost, actually, with other people that were witnesses too, we all saw the same thing. It's called Vale End Cemetery. It's in Wilton, New Hampshire. I'm sure some of you have heard about it and heard about the Blue Lady and all the stories. Well, me and a group of my friends, we started going there. This was before I knew Eric, Stacy, or any of them. I would, go to places illegally, trespass, but I was never disrespectful. I always went there with respect, and I probably did provoke a little bit, but I was like 17, 18. I didn't know what I was doing. But there's a lady there named Mary Ritter who is believed to be buried also with her husband's second wife, and they're sharing that same headstone. So it's kind of like she's probably really upset, and that's why she haunts the ground. I don't know how she died. There's stories saying that he buried her alive. What the truth is, because we tried looking up a lot of the stuff on this place.
I read some of that today on the thing. They said that her husband buried her alive in 1808, and you were kind of like, I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, so it's hard to find some of the information on this. We've tried calling the town. It's hard to get to anybody. So I can explain to you what we saw. I was there one night with 5 of my friends, and we were walking around. We were about getting ready to leave, and I see in the back of the cemetery, I just see a blue light just kind of glowing, just kind of floating there. I thought it might have been a lantern or a candle. Well, it started coming out towards me, and it started floating, and it was just kind of gliding through the sky, and I was like, that is weird. I was like, do you guys see this? You guys seeing this right now? Everyone's seeing it. We're like, what the heck? And it would just like disappear, and we were like, well, that's kind of weird. And we turned around, we started walking, and then we see it again behind a bush. And this was almost winter time, so there was no leaves on any of the trees or the bushes, and you could see right through it. It was kind of like coming around the bush. It was almost like it was watching us. So we were like, all right, we should probably get out of here. We started walking to the car, and then it just started going, and it was just floating through the cemetery. And when we got in the car, it just went all the way back to the back of the grave where Mary's grave is, and it just disappeared. And that was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. We couldn't stop talking about it. The whole ride home. We're like, oh my god, like ghosts are real.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to going out here. I want to do more research on it. There's not a whole lot of history on this cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
Like you told me, her house is like right near the cemetery, boarded up.
And another thing is, cops will arrest you if you go there. They're not lenient anymore. They used to be, because I got stopped by a cop one night when I was in there, and the cop was actually pretty cool. He sat and talked with us. I showed him some of the voice recordings, the EVPs I got there, and he thought it was really cool. But he had to take all our names and put us in the system that we were warned not to go back. And I haven't gone back since then. At night, because I'm not going to jeopardize that. I don't have money for bail.
And the last time me and my wife had contacted him, and that was at the beginning of the year, the beginning of spring actually, we tried to get out there to do an investigation there for at night, and they told me it was impossible, and if we were caught there, you pay fines. It's no more tickets. You can get arrested for trespassing in this cemetery.
Wow.
So anybody who lives in New Hampshire and thinks they got the balls to try and go in this cemetery at night, good luck, because the cops do watch it very well.
Something I found out today when I was looking at research on the place, another experience I had there with one of my friends, Joe, when we were there, and this was during the day, and I saw something in the corner of my eye. It looked like a white figure just standing over a grave looking down, and he saw it too, and instantly I went over to that area, and we didn't say we saw it, but once I started walking over there, he was like, did you just see that too? And I was like, yeah, that's why I'm going over here. And when I was doing research today, looking online, it said right on one of the pages I was looking at that spirits here have been seen to be visiting their own graves. And that's exactly what it looked like. It looked like someone was standing at their grave looking down.
Oh my god.
And it was quick, but I saw it.
That would puzzle me. That would scare the living crap out of me, to actually think during the daytime someone's standing there looking over their grave, thinking it's maybe a relative or a descendant.
I got the chills just thinking about it.
It was crazy, but it was so quick. Like, I don't know. It was strange, but he saw it too, so it validated that for me.
So, Stacy, is there anything you want to add to this?
I can't wait to go to this graveyard. Like, I have really never visited graveyards or done any investigation in them until we went to this old burial graveyard
It was
Andover.
funny. We're walking up the road, and Stacy's saying, "This is my first time we get to be in a graveyard at night. I never investigated one at night." She was so hyped up to do it, and we used some of our equipment there. We didn't really get much. I mean, for as old as this cemetery was, it was quiet.
Yeah, even though it was really foggy and kind of misting, I thought we would get more.
Yeah, but it was.
But the mosquitoes kind of drove us out. We weren't there
Yeah,
that long.
we were there maybe a half hour tops. I've got more mountains on my legs than I have kneecaps.
From investigating a lot of cemeteries, I've noticed that you need to spend actually a lot of time in these places.
Yeah.
You need to spend a few hours because stuff happens. It's just it's not going to happen right
Well,
away.
Yeah.
For one,
We
the
should have a
rain.
recorder.
The rain was the factor.
Yeah.
Most of us were in shorts.
Yeah.
And we were on a time crunch. So maybe someday in the future we can go back to this place.
Yeah.
I would love to go to more cemeteries too. I can't wait.
Cemeteries are a lot. That's how you learn how to become an investigator. Because cemeteries to me is where I think you're going to see most of your action. Because that's where they're buried.
Yeah.
Sometimes trinkets, things like that, like you were mentioning earlier. These guys were probably buried with some of these things. Things that probably started us, that we have no clue what's going on.
Yeah.
Where do these people originally come from? Why did they come to America? Why are they here? It's unexplained. There's so many undocumented things in the United States that the government will refuse to let anybody know or hear about.
Well, even in Belmont, when we try to look up history on my aunt's farm, we were looking at old graveyards because they supposedly have their own family plot. And they said half of the burial grounds in Belmont aren't even registered because they're family plots and nobody registers anything.
Yeah, and I think your uncle also said that some parts of where Belmont now sits used to be Guilford.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gilmanton.
So,
yeah.
or Gilmington. So now the lining for everything in the history could be
Might be in Gilmington.
might be in Gilmington. So that's maybe some other place we might want to go and
Yeah.
check out too, because I know we'll be going back to your aunt's farm there this Halloween to record another episode.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to stay there longer this time. We're actually going to investigate more of the area and more of the farm. We're really going to dig in deep in this. So
Mhm.
I really think the best evidence we got was outside.
yes, outside is the most active place on this farm. Inside, yes.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have the old man who likes to haunt the place still, and he likes to take control of what's going on in the house, and he loves the attic. The attic is his domain.
Oh, we're sending
there-
Chuck up there by himself. No, just kidding.
But there's also, my cousin said that she's seen a woman in white walking outside, and I think that's probably what you guys might have seen.
Me and Eric saw the same thing at the same time. As he was getting ready to say what he needed to say, I was finishing his sentence. So, and the weird part was, we weren't the only two standing there. Kyle was with us, but Kyle didn't see it.
Yeah.
Because Kyle was, the way we were standing, Kyle was facing towards this way, it was Eric, and then
Yeah.
it was me. And we were talking, and at the time, Heidi was filming, and I just happened to glance over, and Eric was in the middle of a conversation, and then bang! He's like, "Did you just?" And I finished. Yeah, it was like a white lady, and we just like, "Whoa, what is
Yeah.
that?" And it went from one end to the other within
And
seconds.
it being a farm, like, who knows, they could still be tending to their gardens and fields.
Yeah,
out
it's
there.
basically, it's like a tape recorder playing over and over. It's a residual
But then
haunting.
you think about cemeteries and the people visiting their own graves. That's like a whole other. line
Maybe
of
they're
ghosts.
thinking they're not dead because some, like, I don't know. That just could be controversial.
Well, the people at the farm may not think they're dead.
Yeah.
But the people the ghosts that you see at cemeteries, they're looking at the grave. They gotta know that they're dead.
Or maybe they think they're still alive too. Oh, is this really me? Am I really dead?
Yeah.
Nobody knows where we go when we die.
Yeah.
We don't know that until our eyes are shut. So, is there anything else you guys want to add, or
No, I think that's
you pretty much all set with what's said?
Yeah, we had a great time in Andover, and I really hope we can go back there soon.
All right, so we're gonna wrap this up. So we hope you enjoy some of the video, and the video will be played first, and then you'll hear us talk about it. or however I do this, however I'm gonna set it up, because it's gonna be weird. I'll have to cut, you know, I'll figure it out. So we'll talk about it, but we're gonna wrap it up. We'll show you the video. We hope you enjoy it. Like I said, please leave your name, your comments, whatever you need to do. If there's something you want to talk to me about, leave it under Eric. Something you want to talk to Stacy about or Kyle, leave it under their name. Type in their name that you want to talk to them directly, because I have been getting people who have been sending me messages on my normal Facebook page. So, and I do try to answer them. This is why we change things up a little bit. So please stay tuned, and we hope to see you next week as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are in North Andover, Massachusetts, standing in front of a cemetery that was built in 1660. Supposedly, some of the Parson Bernard family are buried in this cemetery. This is one of the oldest cemeteries I've been in. There's Kyle doing his research. So later on tonight, we probably will come in here to do a little bit of investigating, and we'll post this on the New Hampshire Ghost Stories. There's Stacy. So what are your thoughts so far, Stacy?
This is ridiculous. This is so awesome. I've never been in a place this old. Like, these gravestones are so old. It's like you can see the tool marks that cut the stones. Like, look at this one. You can't even read what's written on it. It's just lines. Like, it's ridiculous.
And over here in the background, we got my brother Eric Knapp from Hunting the Haunted, and we got Charles.
What's up?
What's up?
We're in the graveyard,
Yeah.
drinking Red Bull, doing what we do with Brother Chuck.
And brother Eric.
Hey, fingers, you're strong. Lift this up so we can get in.
What do you think, I'm Hercules? So, for a little bit of New Hampshire Ghost Stories, what do you think of this place?
Wicked awesome.
Wicked awesome. What do you think of these stones?
Wicked old.
Wicked old. So you think about coming out here tonight and just, you know, walk around a little bit and see what we find?
Oh yeah.
We could post this on our show.
We can. And we will.
And we will, yes. We will. You heard him. We will. We are the shit. We're going to show you footage that everyone thinks is false. I mean, look at some of these old homes.
Look at this one, Eric. Chimpanzee.
Wow, look at
What?
the wood that's around it.
There was writing
I
on this.
actually like it. Yeah, it's so old.
Wow.
And they got all broken stones.
Oh my god. That's crazy.
But yeah, no, you can investigate in here later if you want to. There's
Yeah.
nothing that says.
Look at the size of that tree.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome.
That had to at least be 400 or 500 years old. This is a tree stump, ladies and gentlemen. And these are the roots from this tree.
Stacy, I love your ears.
So,
You look so cute.
and these are broken stones from the cemetery.
Like,
I didn't want to exercise.
I couldn't even like
I did
wrap
bring
my
that.
arms around my tree.
No, none of us could. That is a huge tree.
Glad you made it.
And these are the roots. And then we got the paranormal princess.
Hey!
With coffee.
Listen, this is an unfilmed episode.
She's saying cheese.
This
see.
is the cool grave.
She's saying cheese.
She's not saying she's showing cheese.
I gotta catch my breath.
Well, we are going to sign off for now, and we'll have more for you later.
Somebody's at the house.
What the hell's going on here?
What?
Oh, you turned it around. I'm like, wait a minute, what the hell's going on here? Don't mind me, I'm an idiot.
Okay, so I'll start over again.
All right, so apparently I don't know how to work my own camera. So we are in North Andover, Massachusetts. We are in a cemetery that is extremely old, dates back to 1660. Some of these stones in here are so old that you can't even read the writings on them. So we're going to do like a little quick investigation in here and talk about the cemetery a little bit. So from time to time, you're only going to see 2 of us at a time, maybe even 1 of us, because we're going to be running our own equipment tonight. So because our tech that normally helps us on the New Hampshire Ghost Stories talk show is technically over at the Parson Bernard house, which we came out to and do an investigation at tonight. We are up here with Eric's crew, so we're going to do a little bit of walking around, showing you what the cemetery is like, and hope you enjoy. So Stacy, is there anything you want to add?
This cemetery is so old. I love it. It's got so much history. Some of the Bernards are actually buried in this cemetery, and I just think it's so neat. Like, it's so cool. This is the first time I've investigated in a cemetery at night.
And now what was his name? The main guy, Bernard.
Thomas Bernard was one of them. He was actually a reverend.
Thomas Bernard was one of the people that would trial these people that were witches, and he pretty much gave them their death sentences. He was one of the jury judges, right?
Yep.
I believe he was one of the jury judges. So, as the night goes on with us, probably about 20 minutes of episode. As it goes on, we're going to try a spirit box. We don't normally do this on the talk show, but we're going to try a spirit box. We're going to do a few other things to show you what we do on NHPA. So stay tuned, and we're going to have some fun. And we'll even show you some of the stuff at night. All right, thank you. So some of these people died on the year the Declarations of Independence was signed.
Okay, see, somebody is carving these. That's awful. Yeah, this one, their son died at age 8 months and 13 days. This one was 4 months and 5 days.
So what are your thoughts so far, Kyle?
I want to know if there's anyone out here with us that would like to show themselves. Is there anybody in the cemetery right now with us?
If you'd like to speak to us, come and speak to this green light. If you're here, blink it for green 2 times for yes and yellow for no. Are Lovejoys here with us? We're so sorry that somebody has written on your gravestones. That's awful. I'm so sorry. A bell this late at night?
Church bell. On here I can see him. Look at that, Stacy.
Is anyone out here? Can you show yourself?
Look how far you can see with this thing.
You know how to manifest yourself into a ball of light?
See?
Wow. These trees are huge.
Yeah, bull pine. They don't normally that thick.
America's been ruined. The country's not as great as it used to be, and I feel a lot of you probably wouldn't be too happy with how the country is now.
So we are out here in the middle of the cemetery.
All your guys' hard work is being destroyed by our government. The Constitution is pretty much a joke nowadays.
Pretty much.
They're trying to take away our guns. So pretty much everything you guys fought for and died for is now being mocked.
How's it going, guys?
Any interesting responses at all?
Not yet. We haven't used any of the other equipment. We're just basically talking right now. we figured we'd come out to the cemetery, record it a little bit, talk about it.
I love these two big ones right here.
Yeah, those are awesome.
It's like they were put back together after somebody had probably knocked them over and broke them.
Well, there was that one that was put back together in the tomb. I think it's in front of it. Right there. Right there.
Over there?
Right there. That's the one that's in 3 pieces.
Oh yeah, that one right there. Yeah. These ones are amazing.
There's even some parts of the stones kind of in the trees. Like
What?
they kind of fell over and like as the tree grew.
Yeah.
No way.
Oh yeah, there's that big, wide tree. Like I told them, those trees had to have grown after the cemetery was here.
Yeah. And North Andover pretty much was started right over in that field. There was a meeting house.
Yeah.
And that's where the Andover and North Andover.
This is where it originally started?
Where it started, yeah.
Nice, that's good to know.
Because Andover and North Andover were one town and then they split.
So did you hear that, Stacy?
What?
Basically over there in the field is where North Andover first started.
Andover, North Andover. I
Yeah.
think it was called Andover and then it split.
Yeah.
To North Andover.
That's where the meeting house used to be.
Yeah. We're not exactly sure where, but it was over there somewhere. Oh, down here? I thought it was over here.
For those that don't know what this is an SPB spirit box, and we are going to use it to see if we can pick up any voices. There's not too many people who use these type of things, so. Is there anybody here with us that would like to talk to us?
Can you tell us the name of this town? What state are we in?
Do you not like the noise?
See this little green light right here? You can light it up if you come near it and touch it. Can you make it light up for me? If there's anyone here with us, you can talk to us through this box and the white noise. We'll be able to hear you.
Now's your chance. We're not going to be here long. My name is Eric. This is Kyle. We got Stacy over there.
Is anyone?
Whoa, what was that? Is that you trying to communicate with us? Go? Or no?
Is there anyone here from the Bernard family? mosquitoes out here.
Yes, I'm getting.
Oh my god, I'm getting eaten alive.
family.
Can you get a hold of us? Wow, dude.
It just went off, like the alarm. The
All right, well, we're still at the cemetery and we can hear you loud and clear. Dude, that's pretty far. We are pretty far. Now, this cemetery is pretty cool at night, dude. Pretty cool at night. What was your experience?
I saw a light in the hallway on the second floor, and then I went to go check it out. I couldn't figure out what it was, and then all of a sudden it felt like something rushed at me from the room from the shadow person. Just got this wicked weird feeling like I just got rushed up on.
That's amazing. Very amazing. So we are in a cemetery right now, and the house is probably like 4 football fields away. And we are using our walkie-talkies that are only supposed to pick up to like a football field away. And these work awesome. So Eric just said he had an experience in the house that they're investigating in right now. And it's phenomenal. This place that we're doing tonight is amazing. It's 300 years old. And the history of this place and the surroundings that we are at right now are just amazing. Only if you could really be here to see what this place looks like when it was light up. But we did get some of that footage for you earlier when I brought my camera out here. So what about you? Anything you want to add to this, Kyle?
The mosquitoes are awful right now. I'm getting eaten alive.
Yeah, so we're probably not going to be here much longer.
Yeah. It is foggy and misty, so I mean, sometimes that's believed to be able to help with paranormal activity.
Yes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So obviously we were using the spirit box. We didn't get much going on in the spirit box.
No.
This looks like a very restful place. Doesn't look like there's a whole lot of activity that actually happens here.
Not much vandalism either. I mean,
no.
little like scratches on the cemetery, people carving and stuff, but compared to what's back at home in Manchester, this is not that bad.
No, this is for as old as this place is. Let's see, we're 2016. And this place was built in 1660, so you're talking 1760, 1860, 1960. So this place is over 300 and something years old. So, and it's in pretty good shape. So I'm gonna put Stacy in here so she can speak a little bit and get her experience on what she saw while we're here. And then we're gonna go over and we're gonna show you the size of this big tree trunk that's left from whatever was cut off.
Eric said that was very interesting is that George Washington and Thomas Jefferson have walked through these fields. So that's pretty cool.
That's very amazing. So let's get right now, Stacy up here in the cemetery.
I think this is really cool. Like, are you serious? Like, my boyfriend's parents grew up in Andover and they love it here. It's a beautiful place. And I was told that the meeting house, back when it was just Andover, was right over in that field right next to the cemetery here. So I mean, there's a lot of history here, and I think that the trees here can just tell us that how old this place is. They're so big, and that the tree trunk right over here is like giant. If we walk right over here,
Seems like some of the trees just grew and pushed the graves right out of the ground.
yeah, like I'm amazed.
I think the trees grew after the place was done.
Yeah.
They just let the trees grow. But this tree is enormous.
It's so big they had to cut it down, or
Yeah.
I think it would have destroyed more gravestones than.
And you can just see the roots coming out of the ground. The roots just keep going. I mean, look at this. This is a tree, people. This was a tree.
They had to have put the broken ones that it were probably here before the tree was.
It is humongous. This is what's left of it. And some of the roots are huge. They go right through the graves. They're up against the graves. Right up against the graves. They go right through, all the way through to the opposite side. So, very interesting place. That is like one of the roots sticking out of the ground right now. So, as we continue to do what we got to do.
I'm 5 feet in. I bet if I laid down right here that I wouldn't even be able to reach from end to end.
No, that's from here to there is probably 5 feet.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's the size of this tree. That is huge. And there's broken gravestones all over it.
All over it.
All over it.
Just imagine if.
So we're gonna wrap this up in North Andover, and the first cemetery ever built in Andover. Like Stacy was saying, the meeting house used to be over there in the empty field, and it's no longer there, and then they ended up dividing the town from North Andover to Andover. So this place was built in 1660, and I've never been in a cemetery this old and as well kept as it is. So what are your thoughts on it, guys? What do you think?
I mean, I wish it,
Yeah. Mosquitoes are terrible.
I wish it wasn't as muggy as it is. I'd like to spend a lot more time out here.
Yeah.
Starting to rain a little bit, so, and I don't want to get the camera or the equipment damaged or anything like that, so we're going to pretty much wrap this up. This will be on the New Hampshire Ghost Stories, so this will be one of our episodes we're going to air.
And we'll come back at you with more information and history that we find out about this cemetery when we get internet access.
Yes, we are out in the middle of nowhere. There are some beautiful homes out here. Some of these houses are extremely old. They're at least over 200 years old. There's a huge one right across from us, and there's also one to the left. So we're going to wrap this up. Thank you.
Thank
New
you.
Hampshire Ghost Stories.
See you later.
Bye. Have a good one.
Have a good one.
Someone was yelling.
Yeah.
There's something in the darkness, hiding under your bed. Something in the shadows, it's not inside your head. Hiding in the darkness, never to see the light. After love.